Okay, hey, welcome guys to today's live coaching call. Steve Salvia here in the driver's seat at last. Really, really pumped about this session today. We're going to make a solid start. So we're going to, look at why it's important for you to spend the next 30 or 40 minutes or an hour or so working on your start, so that you can get the first 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, or even 10 minutes of your conversations with a client really, really solid, really strong, and so that it sets you up and your prospects up for massive success. Okay, so a couple of people, I just see a couple of new names just joined us on the line. So hey, welcome guys. So glad you made it. Really in a good mood today. Had a big week, big launch of our lead magnet this week. We've got so much good response from it. It's been fantastic, and I'm actually going to walk you through a little bit about what we did, and probably exactly the process we use, and give you a process at the Impact Summit in November. So guys, be there for that. I'm actually going to walk you through exactly what we've just done. We've probably just got in, I reckon, about 300 leads from our lead magnet that we launched on Monday. So yeah, had a huge week, and now I've got to actually get in and get into those leads. So really cool. So let's do this. This is going to be fantastic. So guys, as you know, today's training is called the Solid Start, and it's what we do in the first 3, 5 or 10 minutes of your meet and greet, or your discovery meeting, or your get to know you session, or whatever you call your first meeting. And whatever your first meeting is with a face-to-face with a prospect, that's what we're talking about here, okay? Because it's not so much for reviews, this session, but you can take some of this and use it in your review meeting, but this is really specifically for a first-time meeting with a client, okay? But because we're in September, yeah, my garden's in full bloom. It's actually, my garden's so beautiful at the moment. I know we're in September. My hay fever's killing me at the moment as well, so it must be spring, and so it must be September, and September is a conversion month. And that's what we're all about this month, and it's all about new clients, new meetings, new opportunities, and specifically what to do when you've attracted a prospect. So we've done the attract month last month, and now that we've attracted them, we've got to try and convert them, don't we? We've got to get them over the line, and we're going to turn them into a client, and that's why I want to focus today about this thing that I call the Solid Start. Mostly on this, most of you guys, most financial planners, I've got to say, have got this preconceived notion that sales are lost at the end of a meeting, or the prospect didn't commit, and then they have to sort of start chasing. They get into this chasing game and try and get them over the line, push them over the line. I want to reassure you guys, I want to tell you this, guys, please, most sales or most conversions are lost at the very start of a meeting, and rarely is it something that you did or didn't do at the end of your meeting, okay? In fact, it's actually something that went wrong in the first 3 to 5 minutes of your meeting, okay? So if we can take the lead early, take control in the first few minutes or so, and yeah, then what that means is then you're in control, and you can determine the flow and the direction the meeting's going to take, and that's why we use the tools that we've got here at Blackmink. Then what happens is things get really easy, and you find your conversion rates go through the roof. Because if you do these 1 or 2 things, we're gonna work through today. It's going to absolutely change what you do in your meetings. Okay. Some people are doing this, and they're doing it really well, and this is going to be a refresher for some of you, and I'm going to dive deeper into some of the tactics, but go a little bit more of the psychology behind this conversion conversation meeting. So you'll get heaps out of today, and there's a heap of people who are just starting to use the 9-box framework. And some people with brand new corporate profiles, and there's a couple of you guys who have just got your first edits, so you've got your corporate profiles in your hands. So, this is the time. So some of it's brand new to you, basically. So I hope you're sitting down, you've got plenty of pen, plenty of paper, you've got your worksheets printed out there, sitting up straight, distractions all gone, because it's going to be a really useful session for you. Okay, so really pumped about this Solid Start. It's the process that you use to start the journey. It's going to totally dictate the process or the flow of your conversation. You want the end of your meeting to end with a yes, where do I sign, or a yes, where have you been all my life, basically. That's what we want at the end of a meeting, don't we? If you want that conversation to be really powerful, I want you to listen really clear today, okay? You need a solid start. You need to be the one that takes control, who takes the lead, you need to be the one that owns the meeting. Not the other way around, and that's a really important thing. So can I get you to jot that down, guys? Just write down own the meeting. You need to be the owner of this meeting. That's a lot about what we're going to talk about today, and that happens right at the start. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly what to do at the start of the session, and we're going to spend the next, I don't know, 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes digging really, really deep into this conversation that we have, because that's how important it is. Okay, I don't care what else you do or what other skills you have or how smart you might be or what technology you use or what accreditations you have, how much knowledge you've got. If you can't get the conversion piece right, it's curtains, guys. And it's going to be even worse for your clients, because if you can't convert, they don't transform. And that's what we want. So it's bad for you, but it's also bad for them as well. That's how much importance I place on the start of this meeting. Everything else flows from the foundations that we build right now. Okay, you get it? Have I sort of got your attention? Have I made this crystal clear how important this is? Okay, I'm trying hard to do that, and I hope I have. Okay, so guys, here's the thing. If you don't get a solid start, there's a few things that happen. If the start of your meeting is weak, if it's flimsy, if you get taken control of instead of being the one who's in control, there's a few things that happen. The first thing that happens, seriously, is that it's what I call false starts. Okay, hand up. I'm going to clear the raise your hand button, guys. Hands up who's ever had a false start in a meeting. So think about the analogy of a false start, where you start a meeting and it just went wrong. It didn't happen for you. You're with a client. You're all set to go, you're ready to go, you reckon you've done your homework and all the rest. Yeah, there is. There's heaps of people putting their hand up. Exactly. We've all had false starts. I've had plenty of them. Don't you worry about that. That's why I put the time into fixing it. But, you reckon you've done your homework with them, they've come from a really reliable source or they've been referred by your best referrer, but it just doesn't go to plan, does it? The meeting starts off wrong. It feels a little bit awkward right at the start. It takes a while to get into. You find that a lot. You've gone in with one set of expectations when you start, but it's not the same as what your prospect's thinking. So what your expectations are and what your prospect's expectations are, they're often poles apart. They're polar opposites, right? It's a false start. Maybe have a good conversation and you've made friends, but you don't convert clients. Okay, and that's what we're about. So think about it. When you see a prospect in your diary or you get a referral, from when you first heard that prospect's name, ends up being what your thought processes are ends up being a really different conversation when you actually meet them, doesn't it, if you don't have the process right. There's nothing worse than having that awkward moment right at the start of the meeting. You're looking at them, they're looking at you, there's that sort of weirdness right at the start, they're scoping you out, you're doing the same thing, they're waiting for you to take charge, because let's face it, prospects want certainty, don't they? People want certainty. They want certainty. They want confidence. What's certainty? If you think about it, I reckon certainty is a combination of confidence and clarity. Okay, so jot that down, please, guys. Certainty is a combination of confidence and clarity. Now, at the end of the day, confidence. They want confidence that you know what you're doing, and they want clarity that you know how to get them wherever they need to go. Okay, so they buy certainty. And if the meeting starts off wrong or you have a false start, what does that do to their confidence level? What does that do to their clarity? What does it do to the certainty? Well, it drops, doesn't it? Okay, so we've got to get it really, really quickly right at the start of the meeting. And you have to work, if you don't get it right, you have to work twice as hard to get it back. Does that make sense? So you have false starts and it just feels awkward. That's the first thing. The second part is, the second part, guys, is that the second thing that happens is you get taken off track. Let's be honest. Really, and what I mean by that, it's in your sales appointment is where you get taken off track. By the way, guys, I keep saying the word sales. Guys, does anyone here on the call have a problem with me saying sales appointment? I'm just going to clear the raise your hand again. If you've got a problem with the word sales when I talk about an appointment, like a conversion meeting, is there anyone got a problem with that? Just raise your hand or type in yeah, I have a problem with that, and we'll discuss it clearly and in detail. Guys, that's great. No one, give you 3, 2, 1. Okay, no hands up. That's good. Excellent. Okay, great. So, sales is where it's at, guys. It's not sales sleazy or pushy or weird or hard sell. No, that's not what I'm talking about at all. Sales with love, from the heart, with your prospect in mind, with people and purpose in mind. Always with their best interest in mind. When I talk about the word sales, that's what I'm getting at. But we have to sell for them to transform. There's no other way. It'll fail. You'll fail them, and you'll fail if you don't do it right. So, okay. So their best interest in mind all the time, because we need that transformation. They won't transform unless they buy. Even if it's buying your advice, guys, they've got to buy your advice even, okay? Your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, all your infrastructure, everything that you've got, that you want them to buy that as well. So you've got something really valuable to sell, and, you know, so that, yeah, they need to buy that. Anyway, so specifically in this sales appointment, someone needs to be in control. Now, it could either be you that's in control, or it could be them, right? So there's two options here. You could be the one in control of your appointment, or they could be in control of your appointment, okay? So but either way, someone's got to take the lead. So one person's got to lead, and someone's got to follow. That could be either way. You could flip the coin here. The problem is, if you let them control and be in control, take control, even if they want to be, they've got no idea where they're going. And that's the analogy here. And that's why you get taken off track. That's why they're in your office in the first place. If they knew where they were going, they wouldn't need to be there. There's no point in being in your room, in your office. Okay. So the last thing you need is someone that's leading the meeting that's got no idea where they're going, right? So it's like everyone's lost. You're off track. It means that you didn't set the meeting up right at the beginning. That's how it happens. It wasn't set up correctly, and you make you didn't set it up correctly, and the conversation goes where they want instead of where they need it to go. Okay, hands up. Just again, I'll clear the raise your hands, guys. Hands up. Who's ever had a client or a prospect, come in and take over the meeting and take you on a wild goose chase. You can tell them stories, talking about the history, wanting to go through the spreadsheet that they created the night before. Who's ever been taken off track before? Who's ever had that? They want to talk about all this stuff that's got no value and no relevance whatsoever. Just raise your hand. Yeah, dude. Virtually every single person has just raised their hand. That's right. We've all done it. Again, I've done this before as well. So the worst part is that once you've been taken off track, it's so hard to get it back on track, right? Sometimes you've got to start all over again, and that's a waste of time. No one wants to do that, obviously. So we need to be really, really conscious and don't get taken off track. Obviously, it's not about pushing or dragging them in a certain direction. We don't want to do that, but we're going to lead them, and we're going to take them in a direction, and they're going to willingly follow if we do it right. You know, there'll be, there's a big, big, big difference between those two. We want to lead instead of drag. Okay, and I want to make sure that you feel the energy. The tone of those two words are very, very different. And that's what I'm going to be talking about a lot over the course of this session. We're leading, not pushing. That's what we're talking about here, basically. Okay. There's this other thing I do. There's this great distinction that I use often when I start a meeting. And you guys might have actually heard me talk about this when I had my Skype calls with you, and it's what I call the distinction between interesting versus useful. Interesting versus useful. Guys, can you remember me talking about that? Remember I said right at the front, I framed it up really, really early. I said, you can either talk about stuff that's interesting, or you can talk about things that are useful. And I'd say, hey guys, mate, we've got a limited, guys, we've got a limited amount of time here today, so let's do this. I've got a distinction that I call, let's talk about, there's two ways we can go with this. We can either talk about things that are interesting or things that are useful. So if it's interesting, let's save it, and we'll sit down over a glass of wine or a beer, and we'll talk about all the interesting stuff later. But today, let's keep focused, and we'll talk about the stuff that's relevant and useful to you. Is that okay with you? And so you want to frame it up right up front, and so that the conversation's actually useful for both parties the entire time. Okay, that's what we want to do. So really, really early in the piece, tell them that there's two things that you can talk about, and that's going to keep you on track. Because what happens then, you've got permission later on down the track. If they do take you off track, you can say, hey, remember we said we were going to talk about things that were useful versus interesting? Well, I reckon this is a really great story, but it's pretty and it's really interesting. But how about we park this and we go back to the task at hand? And then you can, and they say great because they've agreed to it right up front. Okay, so really good distinction. So if you don't get this right in the first 3 minutes, the conversation is going to go off track over the next hour. Okay. All right, so that's the second part. So that's the second thing that happens. The third thing, really important here, third thing that happens if you don't get this solid start piece right is that you get pushback. Now, has that ever happened to you? Premiums are too high, I can't afford it, I can't see your value, I need to go away and think about it, you didn't explain it to me properly, I'm confused, I'm not, these are all examples of what I call pushback. And if you look at pushback objectively, the reason you get pushback basically is because at some level they feel like you pushed first. Okay, so guys, please write that down. If you get pushback, or when you get pushback, it's because they felt like you pushed first. Okay, so you never set the expectations up front, and then when it came time, they thought, hey, this person's pushing me and I'm going to push back, and I'm not going to be happy with it. Okay, so they thought it was going to be just an information gathering exercise, you know, but really you wanted to, you know, you wanted to sell, and they just wanted to get free, you wanted to convert basically, but they just wanted free info or quotes or some questions answered, that sort of thing. And yeah, you're going to see it more as more and more and more. Yeah, at the end of the day, more and more of this you're going to find it because people can just go online to get your product. It's cheaper to go actually and get your product online. They can go online and get an insurance policy easy. So you're going to get this pushback more and more and more. So we've got to set the expectation right at the start of the meeting so so it's set right up front. We don't get the pushback. People are going to come to you and bleed you for information. That's the reality going forward here from now on because they can actually get the product somewhere else. So we've got to actually sell. That's why it's so important now to do this free for advice piece because we want to give them the information. They can give it the information, but they've got to pay for it. And if they want to go and get the product online, some people are going to do that, you'll find, for sure. Okay. So, yeah, so we need to set the expectation up front, right up front, really, really clearly for you and really clearly for them as well. So there's no doubt what's going to happen over the course of the meeting. There's a clear pathway, there's certainty, there's clarity, there's, you know, everyone's on the same page. There's no need for all the stall tactics or excuses and pushbacks that you're getting. Okay. In fact, they come to you because they can see the results that you're going to give them and the good things that are going to happen when they're on a journey with you. And that's exactly what we want. That's what we want, and that's what you get if you do this right. So, you know, you want them to feel like you're going to take them. Yeah, you're going to take them where they want to go. Okay. Guys, my screen isn't allowing me to. Just hold on 1 second to see if I can get the presenter view back up. So I don't have to keep clicking. Ah, there you go. All right, great. And what happens then, guys? So let's quickly just, you know, we recap. If we we get a series of false starts, you know, the conversation breaks down in their head. You get disqualified. You're not in the race. It's all over. Number two, we take the prospects off track. You meander. You go in circles. You get to the 30 minutes mark of your meeting, and everything's been irrelevant that you've talked about so far, and you're wondering how you're going to get it back on track. Right? Not ideal. Number thirdly, you get pushback. Don't you? You know, and you're in the middle of your conversation, you're giving it your all, but you get that feeling, you know, that you get that feeling in your gut. Everyone knows it. The feeling in your gut that, hey, you know, I can feel this is slipping through my fingers, and you know, you're talking and you're actually listening, but in the back of your mind, you can feel the meeting not going on the way you want it to. You know, you actually you can. You know it intellectually because you just haven't taken control. You've let them lead, and you're helpless to do anything about it once they've got the lead. Okay, and I want you to be the one that's in control, and so it never happens to you. Right? So that's the downside. So that's what happens if it doesn't work properly. But on the other side, on the flip side, instead of really slow and painful starts, what we actually get, you start strong. Okay, you're quick off the mark. You show promise. People are interested in where you're going and where you can potentially take them. That's why they come. That's why they're there. They came in for that, and then when they got there, they're really, really clear that you can take them where they need to be. You know, prospects know right up front what the meeting's about, why it's different. There was someone who knows what they're doing. How do they know that? Well, because you're in control. You're first off the mark. You're the person who took pole position. And you've capitalized on that, and your prospects know that you're going to take them, you know, you're going to take them by the hand and you're going to lead them exactly where they need to go. You become the man with the plan, in other words. Just write that down, guys, please. Important, either the guy or the gal. So you're the guy, you're man with the plan, or the lady with the plan. I don't know if there's another way to put that, but anyway, so you're either the man with the plan or the lady with the plan, yeah? You need to be that person, and they're going to say yes. Been through your agenda, at the end of that, right at the end, you're going to say the words, does that sound like a plan? And they're going to say yes every single time. And what that does, that gives you control. Okay? If you do this right, they're going to want to go along with everything you say, because the reality is most people are silently begging to be led. Most people are silently begging to be led. Okay, they're walking around, umbilical cord in hand, waiting for someone, a leader, to be able to plug themselves into. And if we do this right and we set this strong start, you're going to be that person. Okay, there's not many true leaders out there, guys. Let's be clear about this. There's not many real leaders, but there's a heap of followers in the world. Lots and lots of followers. Percentage of leaders is tiny. Okay, and there's a reason for that, because most people are begging to be led, right? So what we do is we take the lead and we make a strong start. Number two, instead of being taken off track or led astray or forever trying to arrest back control, what happens is they actually become invested in you, and they become invested in what you have to say. They buy in. They buy into you, they buy into your business, they buy into your process, because for the first time there actually is a process. They can see it, they're part of it. People go to a financial planner, generally there's not much of a process at all. They wing their meetings, and that's not going to be us. No way, and that's why their conversion rates are terrible, because people just can't see a way forward. But with this process, they're part of that process. They actually buy into the process. It's not just about fact finds and details and super fund statements and what insurances they've got. It's actually about them, their family, their future. We set some ground rules right up front, so they know what the boundaries are, and everything that's going to happen is clear. There's no surprises. People hate surprises. I just need you to know that people do not like surprises. So what we do, we tell them exactly what's going to happen and exactly what we want them to do right at the very start. So when that thing turns up, there ain't no surprises anymore. That's right, Steve said that was going to happen, and it's happened. So that's good. So it's another leadership trait. Okay. So we've got to tell them exactly what's going to happen before it actually happens, so there's no surprises. Okay. You want people to buy into the process. In other words, it's like you want them to give you front. Guys, do me a favour. Pardon me, I'm going to grab a quick drink of water. Guys, what do you think could be some of the white elephants in the room in your first meeting in the first few minutes? Just type into the question box for me, guys. What could be some of the white elephants? What could be a white elephant in the room at the start of a convention meeting? Do me a favour, type that in. What could be the white elephant? Yeah, lack of trust. What are the fees? I reckon that's probably the biggest one. What else? What else, guys? Heap of people on the call, not many people typing. So do me that favour. Bring your A game and type into me. I've had 2 people type in. Guys, I've had 2 people type into the question box, so please do me a favour. Yeah, I only want to talk about one specific issue. Yeah, they came in there. My accountant said I need some life insurance. Exactly, Michael. Mark says, what are the fees? Steve, lack of trust, thank you. Yeah, always fees. That's the big white elephant, isn't it? Often at times. There's lots of white elephants, but the big one's fees, obviously. Okay, so, they're desperate to know what it's going to cost them, I reckon, is a big thing. So we tell them right up front that the meeting's free, and after we've done some work together today, we're going to have a clear picture of where they want to be, where they're at right now, and what's in the way, what's involved, and if they're a fit for your business or not. And if you decide to work with them, and that's really important, guys, as well. That's a really important distinction. This isn't about whether they're going to choose you as their planner. No, it's about whether you see if you see if they are a fit for your business, if they qualify as a client. So we're going to say, if we choose to work together, then I'll walk through exactly after our conversation today. We're really clear on where you are right now. Where you want to be, where you are right now. What are the issues, challenges, and obstacles we've got to do? What work's involved? What time is involved? What sort of value I can add? And I'll be really clear. I'll be clear at the end of our meeting what I think our charges are going to be, and I'll walk through that with you at the end of the session. Is that okay with you? So what have we done? Right at the start, again, we've removed the white elephant from the room. Okay, he's going to walk me through a process. He's going to ask me a whole heap of questions, and then at the end, if I think he's a fit for me and he thinks I'm a fit for him, he's going to then talk me through the fees. Okay, I don't have to worry about fees anymore. It's now gone out of my world, and I can focus on the conversation. Okay, so that's what happens. So because that's the thing. So we want to make sure that they're really clear right up front. It becomes very different conversation once you've done that. Once you've removed all the white elephants, you don't have to impress anyone anymore, because they're the ones that have to impress you. They want to. What happens is they start to become a good boy or girl because they want to impress you. No one likes rejection, right? So it's this is about if I can help or how I can help, and if you're a fit for our business. So we want it to be like an audition. And the thing is, no one likes to fail an audition. No one likes to get rejected. So they start, they all of a sudden they get on their best behaviour. They sit up a little bit straighter in the chair. They answer your questions a bit more deeply. They look you more in the eye because everyone wants to be loved. No one wants to be rejected. So if we set that expectation up right up front, you're not auditioning for them. All of a sudden, they start auditioning for you, and it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty good feeling. And the third thing that happens is that instead of getting pushback, you actually get follow through. You know, financial planning is a leadership game. Please write that down, guys. I want everyone to know. I think we've gone away from that now because of all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes and outside our control. I feel like the profession has lost its way in leadership. I really do. And I want you to know that financial planning is a leadership game. Sales is a leadership game. And you're not going to be passive. You're not going to be on the back foot. You're not going to be waiting for them to tell you what they want. No, no, no. We're not doing that. They're going to take advice. They're going to listen to an expert. You're going to take a leadership position. You lead, they follow. You talk, they listen. The conversation goes very, very differently because you've set the expectation right up front. You've mapped out the journey, and they're willing to come along, and they've thanked you for it as well. So finally, someone's taken the lead. Finally, someone knows what they're doing. Finally, someone's going to help me. This is really, really important, guys. I'm trying to really ram this home because it's critical that we get this ingrained in our mind, okay? What we want to try and do, I like the analogy. I've got the motorbike guy there, but I like the analogy pulling them to the top of the mountain. Okay, you know, your prospects can only get so far up going. They're climbing Mount Everest. They can only get so far by themselves. Eventually, they need someone's help, and you're the man or you're the woman with the plan, and they'll do whatever you say. They're 2/3 of the way up the mountain, but they need the Sherpa. They need someone to drag them up with them. They can't get there alone. It's not passive anymore. It's not resistant. They're engaged in the process because they can see that you can get them to the top of the mountain. And when you do it right, it'll be respectful. You're going to do all of this, everything I'm talking about now, you're going to do this in a really, really respectful way. We don't have to push anymore. We don't have to push anyone either. They just come along for the ride. You lead, and they'll happily follow. And it'll be classy for everyone involved, and that's where we're at. All right, and you know, so what happens then if you do this right, instead of flipping through your fingers, what happens is your relationship gets even stronger. The better you do this, the more time you take on this, the more focused and much concentration you put into this part of it, you know, the relationship gets stronger. They're clear, they're comfortable, they've finally got clarity, they found someone they can trust. You know, he or she's told me everything that's going to happen right up front before it's even happened, and I'm comfortable with that. That sounds like a plan. It sounds logical to me. I don't have to worry anymore about what's going to happen because I know the process and I've agreed to it, so I don't even have to think about the process anymore. Let's just get into the meeting, and I can be open and honest and open myself up. I feel, you know, I feel safe and I feel in good hands. That's the sort of feeling you want people to have when we're doing this right. Okay, I'm safe. I'm in good hands. Let me follow. Okay. All right, so guys, you know, I don't know why you guys want a solid start, but I'd love to know. I'm going to ask the question. You know, why do you want a solid start? So what would you say if I asked you the question, why do you want a solid start? What would you answer? I'd love you to just take a minute, have a think about what we've just talked about, have a think about some of the notes that you've written down, and type into the question box for me. Do me a favour. You know, why do you want to get super focused and make the best possible start for you and for them? What, you know, it's what would improving the way you position your meetings right up front, how would that help you? Okay, just do me a favour, type that into the question box for me now. I'd love to hear a variety of answers that will come through. So I'll give you 10 seconds to do that. Okay, ready? Go now. So we've got a few people on the call, so we should have quite a few answers. Yeah, how much? Oh, yeah, good. Thanks, William. Just got that. Always fees. How much is this going to cost me? William says for that previous question. Show authority, engage them, and prospects at ease. Lee, exactly right. Because times are changing quickly, and we need to get ahead of the game. Exactly right. Again, product is a commodity now, and that commodity can be got cheaper and easier elsewhere. They don't physically need a financial planner anymore. That's just the reality, and the reality is also, guys, there's going to be a marketplace for that as well. There will be a section of the market for people who don't want advice. So once we've got people in the office, we've got to make sure that they come on the journey with us, even if it's for the purchasing of the advice and the strategy. Okay, leadership, setting the scene. Posture, great, Paul. Love posture. Love that word. Reduces resistance. Thanks, Julie. Makes the conversation conversion more effective. Builds confidence and momentum. Thanks, William. Yes. If the meeting goes according to plan, it makes it easier for the rest of the meeting. Exactly right. That's the whole point. We're starting in the first 3 or 4 minutes so that we can end in the next 90 minutes exactly the way we want to end it. Great, guys. There's a few more in there as well, but I think we're on track. We've got the picture there. That's great. Really good. Thanks for participating too, guys. All right. Okay. So I've got some ideas about this. I want to give you 4 big principles of how to make your start much better. Okay. I want to bust out 4 really hot keys, and they're going to make your start even stronger. And when we make your start even stronger, we're going to make your finish even stronger as well. And that's really what we're talking about here in a conversion meeting. Okay. Remember, the way you start your meeting is going to determine the way you end your meeting. So this is really critical. If you don't do it right, if you let your meeting have its own life, they'll actually do the leading for you, and you don't want that. Okay, so we want to avoid that at all costs, and here's how I reckon you should do it. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is that I want you to, remember I said I want you to position to prosper. Okay, I want you to position to prosper. Remember I said earlier that your prospects are going to feel way more comfortable about things if they know what's happening up front before it actually happens to them. Remember I talked about that? Well, imagine if you could position it, what's going to happen before they'd even come into the meeting. Imagine if you could position what's going to happen in the meeting before you'd even met. Okay? What if you could set the scene, position the expectation, sort of effectively map out what's going to happen and what they can expect before you've even met them? What if you're able to start before you've even started? Think about that for a minute. What if we could start the journey before the journey had even started? Think about the power in that. Okay, you're able to set expectations. You're able to set time frames. You sort of map out the journey for them. You can get them engaged. You can get them to do some homework. Have a think about where they're at, what they want to talk about before they actually come in to your meeting. Okay. Let's face it, guys, most people turn up and they haven't got any idea what's going to happen or what the meeting's about. That's why they take you off track at the end of the day, because they're thinking one thing and you're thinking something else. They think they're coming in for to make a friend or to have a chat, okay, or get some ideas from you. That's not what it's about. So if we could position ourselves as a leader, get people excited, involved, and working before the actual meeting, we can set the expectation before you've even shaken hands. I reckon be so much pressure off in the actual meeting because they've already started doing exactly what you've asked because you said to do that. You told them right up front. We've given them some work to do right up front. Okay, so it's like those really good snooker players, and that's why I've got the snooker analogy. Those really good snooker players, they get to the 8-ball shot, right? They get to the winning shot, but they don't just get there by chance, do they? It's not a fluke. They've been setting themselves. They've been positioning the final shot they're going to make 2, 3, even 4 shots before they get to the 8-ball, right? So, of course, they get the final glory shot. The 8-ball's the final glory shot, and that's like our conversion meeting, but the smart shots were the ones up front. And if you actually think about it, normally the black ball shot's actually the easiest shot. You think about that. It's often just a bank off kush, or it's just a straight shot into the corner pocket is the 8-ball shot. The real skill was earlier in the game, and the end was just the final shot, and that's normally easy. Is that fair? Do you reckon that's a fair call? I reckon the most skill is in getting to the 8-ball rather than actually sinking the 8-ball. Normally the 8-ball's set up pretty well. Okay. It's the same with your conversion conversation. The conversation starts before you've even met. You do the pre-sell up front, so before you've even met them, so that you don't have to do any hard sell. The pre-work does the heavy lifting for you. They're tuned in. They know exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. They're clear. They've got some homework to do, so they've got some buy-in. They've got some skin in the game. And the skin isn't money at this stage. The skin is the bit of time that they put in, the bit of work that they put in. They're prepped, and you've used some authority positioning before the event to sort of take them into a leadership position. Guys, what I might do is, I've got a couple of things open here I might just show you there. I'm just going to show you this one here. Have a look at the appointment booking script. So this is what we call the authority appointment booking script. I'm just going to set that up so you can read it. I don't know, I'm going to clear the raise your hand button. But guys, raise your hand if you've seen this document before. It's the authority appointment booking script. So this is basically for your client service officer or your or your reception or your planner, tell me if you've seen this document before. That's basically how we what I call a world-class appointment booking process. So, and normally I never did this if I could help it. It was always my CSO. But really, we've talked about it a little bit before. Step one: have the advisor's calendar open. Advise the client that we look. Okay, so I'm just looking at the diary now. Ask where they live so we can get a bit of an idea of what direction they're at and sort of distances and things like that. Check to see what days are free and give them choices. So Fred, hey, okay, Fred, just looking at Steve's diary now. The week's totally full. There's just no slots available at all. I'll just flick over next week because this week's totally full. Really full too. He has got a couple of slots available that I can slip you into. Would you prefer morning or afternoon? Okay, well, he's got one left on 9:30 on Wednesday morning, or would you prefer 11:30 on Thursday? Can we try and give them a couple of options? Wednesday, Tuesday and Thursdays is the way we do it. And then we put the details in, blah, blah, blah. The client gives the details. Got all the details there. But then really what I want to show you is this part here. We explain the process from here. So, okay, Fred, so I'll just read this out, guys, if it's okay. It's really important here. This is critical, okay? Okay, Fred, so I'll confirm your appointment's booked with for Wednesday, the 25th of March at 9:30 at our office, at Steve's office on blah, blah road in blah. What I'll do now is send you a quick courtesy email to confirm what we've talked about just now, the date, time and location. So don't worry, I'll send you a quick reminder. Like a minute later we're going to do this. And then look out for this very special, what we call a welcome pack in the next few days. Inside that pack, there's a little bit of info about who we are, what you can expect, and some general details about the meeting. Also inside that pack, you'll find an appointment reminder slip with the date and the time on it. You can stick that up on the fridge because we'll put a magnet in there as well. Importantly, on the back of that slip, there's a little tick box of things that you should bring in with you. If you've got them, please bring them along with you for the meeting. If you can't find them, don't be too concerned, and I'll give you a courtesy call the day before to remind you. Does that sound okay, Fred? Great. Okay, we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday the 25th at 9:30. Thanks, Fred. Have a great day. So you see what we've done just in the meeting. So this is my receptionist or my PA on the phone to the client. We've never met before. We've just got the name, and what have we done? We've installed authority. He's booked. You can't get in this week. In fact, I can slip to next week, and there's only 2 slots left for next week. Dude, you better jump on one, number one. Number two, so we've then confirmed the meeting. So when I used to do it, I say, okay, so Fred, just to confirm, I've locked and loaded that meeting in for Wednesday, the 25th of March. I don't know what it is about the words locked and loaded. When you say the words locked and loaded, it's pretty much set. It would kind of be rude to break a locked and loaded appointment, right? So that's why I personally use the words locked and loaded. And I actually got Daniela and my guys to use the words locked and loaded as well. So, and then we've just confirmed it, so they can't say, oh, I couldn't remember, or I didn't know the date, I wasn't clear. What I'm going to do is send you a courtesy email, so there's something. They know there's something coming, a follow-up coming. But not only that, watch out for the welcome pack. Okay, so now their radars are on. Okay, there's something coming in the mail. I better keep an eye out for it in the next few days. And we tell them it's a welcome pack, but for us it's a wow pack. This is our wow pack where we've got our critical issues questionnaire and all the rest of it as well. And we've just gone through, and you're going to find this in there, and make sure you do that. And it's got this little tick box of things that you should bring in with you, and And don't worry, I'll give you a courtesy call. Okay, great. We'll look forward to seeing you, and then we confirm the date and time all over again. So they've heard the date and time 3, 4, even 5 times just in that little script. Okay, so that's really, really critical. Then what do? They get they get the little email. Email comes out. Hey, Andrew and Jane, welcome to Southern. So we welcome them straight away. We welcome them as a client, as if they're a client already. So the first contact they get from us is welcome to Southern Financial Strategies. I want them to feel like they're already a client before they are a client. Great to talk to you just now to confirm your appointment's booked. Or if this comes from Daniela, this one's actually from me, but if it comes from Daniela, to confirm your appointment is booked with Steve on blah, blah, blah date. As we discussed, your meeting with Steve, this is obviously my script, but sorry, as we discussed in our meetings, what's going to be called a meet and greet. It's going to provide an excellent opportunity to do this and do that and do the other, find out who we are and how we operate, but also a good chance for us to find out a lot about you, your situation, your background, and what requires attention. We'll also look at ways to do this, this and this. So I've framed up that I think someone said they only want to talk about one thing. What this does is frames up. We're going to talk about the thing you want, but there's a whole heap of other stuff that I'm going to talk to you about as well. So we broaden it all. Watch out for a very special So what I want you to get here, guys, you see how we're framing everything up right at the start. We're starting strong. We're even starting before we've met them. We're framing everything up. So there's no surprises. And they've also been instructed exactly what they need to do. Please complete this thing and bring it into the meet and greet with you so that we can have a great conversation. It'll help us get a sense of where you are and fast track our meeting so we can spend quality time talking specific instead of just gathering info. So we got them to fill this stuff in beforehand. It's also a great idea to bring everyone else, other decision makers involved. So get them involved in filling in the critical issues questionnaire as well. I've asked Daniela to give you a call as a quick reminder. Oh, whew, thank God, I'm going to get a reminder call. I also invite you to go to our website, but really I want them to go to our testimonials. Okay, I don't care about the front page anymore. They're already client. I don't need them to download my lead magnet. I want them to go to the testimonials so that they can see what other people have said about us as well and how awesome we are in other people's words. Yeah. So that's that part of it, and then I can just find this here now. And of course, I'm having massive computer problems today. I don't know why that's not responding. And then of course, and I can't open it for you now for some strange reason. Yes it is. Here it is. And the last one I'll send, just quickly, this is the welcome pack. This is the letter, that goes in the welcome pack. So I'll just make that bigger. So here's the welcome pack. So this is the letter, the cover letter that goes in the WOW pack that we send out. Dear Fred and Mary, again, congratulations. 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 You've made it. Why? Because you've taken the important step of booking your meet and greet appointment with Steve on Friday, the blah, 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 at our office here. It shows that you're proactive and you've got a real willingness to take a good look at your situation and what's possible for you. Great work. Guys, just do me a favour, type into the question box because this is really important. What are you learning and what are you hearing in this frame up, this strong start part? Remember the topic here is position to prosper. What are you hearing in these tools? What are you getting out of this? Just type in for me. I want you to just give me a bit of an idea of what you're getting out of me walking you through these things. How am I positioning this for me to prosper with a client? Let's type that in for me now. What are you hearing? Yeah, I'm setting the terms of engagement, Terry, before I've even met the client. I haven't met the dude yet. Authority, thanks Lee, exactly. Setting the scene, I'm setting up the expectation. So when it comes in, that's exactly what he said would happen. This process is SMIC. He's thought it through. Mark says we're taking leadership. We're absolutely taking a leadership position before it even starts. So this client, even now, even just thinking about this, there's no way that this client could take a leadership position when we first met because I've already taken the leadership position even before we met. We set the scene so there's no surprises. Thanks, Steve. Great positioning as you were setting the scene, which will echo in the meeting process. Exactly, it's exactly what it's going to be. Great, awesome, guys. That's exactly what I wanted you to get out of this. Okay, at our meeting, we'll look at ways to improve your position, enhance your lifestyle, and discuss any specific issues that require attention. So that's really important there, guys. Don't worry, if you've got something that you want to talk about, we'll cover that, but I've got a whole heap of other things that we're going to talk about as well. But you don't need to worry, we'll definitely cover the thing that you want, okay? All with a view to giving you a great outcome. Please make sure, to make sure you get value, I've included some things. Just the brochure that you're in the right, blah, blah, blah. The critical issues questionnaire. So here it comes up again. So Daniela's told them in the phone conversation that you're going to see the critical issues questionnaire. It came up in the email, the confirmation email that went out, and now here it is again. This is how important it is. This is an important sheet for you. Please provide us with this starting point, get you to have a think about it. It's really simple. Underlined. So they kind of couldn't turn up without that done now, hopefully. Some people don't, but I've got to tell you, I'd say 90% of people used to come with it completed. The corporate brochure, the appointment reminder and what to bring slip, blah, blah, blah. I see this as a really important responsibility to do my job properly for you, and I take my role very seriously. Okay, I don't know how to frame that for you guys, but I just think that's a really powerful little line there. I see it as an important responsibility to do my job properly for you, and I take my role very seriously. So I've just lost the smile, in other words. Dude, we're going to have a great time, but we're going to do some good work as well. I look forward to meeting you with integrity and enthusiasm. thanks, thing to the office and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so hopefully you get a feel for how they could position you for position you to prosper and position you in a position in a place of leadership as well. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Right, so that's number one. Number two, the second thing I want you to do. So firstly we're going to position ourselves to prosper. Secondly, I want you to drive. I want you to be the driver. Okay, and I don't know about you. I hate not being the driver. I don't know if it's a work thing or not, but even in life, no matter whose car it is, I'm the one. I normally want to drive. But anyway, so like I said, sales is a leadership game. There's so the next points that I'm going to give you, these next 3 points are about the first 3 to 5 minutes in your meeting. Okay, so the first point is to drive. I want you to understand that you need to be the one in the driver's seat, not the passenger seat, not the back seat, definitely not in the boot, right? Your spot is in the driver's seat. And that's the reason people come to you, all right? They've got a problem, they're stuck, they don't know how to fix it, so they're looking for you, for direction and for help. And that buys you the right to be in the driver's seat. You haven't gone to them, they've come to you for help. So you get the ability to be the one in the driver's seat, okay? And how do you do that? Well, the first thing you do is you build rapport. And we've got the 9-box framework, guys. We've got that 9-box framework that we use. We're talking about the top 3. So I want to make sure that you know what I'm talking about here. Just quickly, I better get that up on the screen just so you see it. So just to make sure that we're on the same page, guys, I just want everyone to be really, really clear on the 9-box framework. I might just leave this slide up now for now. Really what I'm talking about in here is by you taking the lead and you driving, we're talking about here. We've got we start with building the rapport. This is us lead the client. We start with building rapport. We move over to set the agenda. Okay, we set the agenda and then we ask the decision question, and that's really what we're going to be focused on today. So the first box is build rapport. We do what we do best. We break the ice. We set the scene. We start the relationship. Which just I call it talking about the cat, as you know. Okay, that's how I put it. It's Financial Planner 101. We all should know how to break the ice in our own meetings. You don't really need me to tell you that, but I've got a few pointers there the way I used to do it as well. So here's what here's the place where we want to what I want you to understand about rapport is that it's not look, I'm not going to go all NLP on you, and I'm not going to teach you all these Jedi mind tricks and stuff like that. You don't do any of that, but please write this down, guys. I think this is important that we jot this down. I'm going to actually bring this iPad over. I think it's critical for us to understand that trust. I just want you to understand this and just jot this down with me, guys. Trust, right, is I reckon trust is, rapport is built on, a combination of trust and responsiveness. Okay? It's trust and responsiveness. Please write that down. And what too many people do is that because they don't either have the skills or they don't have the confidence or they don't know any better, what they do is they spend all their time trying to earn trust, right? And so they spend all their time trying to earn trust, and they ask for responsiveness. Okay, they try and earn trust and they ask for responsiveness. Now the problem is that generally people don't trust financial planners. Okay, it's clear. People do not trust us. It's as simple as that. So we work really, really hard on earning people's trust in the authority and leadership, and we actually need to try and earn that, or we have we feel the need to do that. And what happens is when you do it too hard, trust goes out the door, and we end up having to ask about it. We end up having to ask them to do stuff and to be responsive. Does that make sense? But most of us want to do it, but we want to do it respectfully. Okay. The thing is, you're meant to be the leader. You're not the follower. Leaders don't earn trust and ask for responsiveness. What leaders do is that they assume trust and they demand responsiveness. critical distinction, okay? So we don't do it in a rude way or an arrogant way or an ignorant way. No, we don't do it that way at all, but we do it in a way that that positions leadership, okay? Someone's got to drive the bus. Okay? Someone's got to be in control, and it can either be you or it could be them. Okay, so you think about it, when I start, I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of my intensive sessions that I run, or if you've ever been to a workshop with me, and pretty much all of my workshops, I start and I say something like, okay, this is right at the start, first 10 seconds, I say, guys, raise your right hand in the air really, really high. Raise your left hand in the air really high. Shake, and then raise your right hand again. Shake it all around like you just don't care. Put your hand on the person next to you and give them a shake and say, hey, dude, hey, this dude's interactive. Well, has anyone ever come across that? Just raise your hand for me if you've ever heard me say that right at the start of a session before. You've probably all heard me do that. Raise your right hand, raise your left hand, raise your right hand again, shake it all around, put your hand on the person next to you, give them a shake and say, this guy's interactive. You ever heard me do that? Right, so what have I done? I've assumed trust and I've demanded responsiveness. Now, did I do it in a rude or nasty way? No, but what I've done, I took control. I made people do what I said just simply by taking control of the session, okay? So I've assumed trust, I've demanded responsiveness, and at the same time I've taken control, and I'm the one that's now in the driver's seat. And that's exactly what we need to do in our meeting. That's exactly what we're talking about here. That's the framework that we need to follow. Okay. So in the first 20 seconds or so, there's no question who's the leader, who's in the driver's seat, who's driving the conversation. So in your first minute, you're going to start strong. You're going to build rapport. You don't need to spend hours on this, guys. Just 2 minutes on it. Just 2 minutes setting the scene and breaking the ice, setting the pace for them, and but after 2 seconds, you get to be the driver. Okay. I've gone pretty deep here, guys. I'm trying to really bring this home for you, but I want you to know how important it is. Okay. So number 2 is that you need to drive the process. Just going to minimise that. Bring my slide back up. Okay. All right. Number 3. Third thing we need to do. Well, the third thing we need to do here is we need to map. Oh, so that's number 1. Oh, sorry, number 2. I needed to worksheet there, but that's okay. Now, third thing we're going to do, we want to map out the plan. We want to map out your meeting. Okay. So we map out the meeting, and we want to set some milestones along the way for your meeting. So most people I talk to have got no idea how this sort of this conversation works. Most of your clients have got no idea how a conversation like this works, how a meeting with you is going to work, let alone any idea what the outcome is going to be. They've got no idea. All they know is that they've got a problem and they need to fix it, and they want to find someone that they can trust to help them get it done. That's the frame that people come into your office with. That's what they want. But in the back of their mind, they've got these preconceived concerns and things that they've heard about financial planners. They've got, I can't trust this person, how much is it going to cost me, am I going to lose my money, are they going to sell me more insurance, whatever it happens to be. They've got these things in the back of their mind. So it's your job to make them feel at ease and make sure that they feel like they're in safe hands and that you're going to be the right person for them. They're going to get to the destination they need to go. So to make them feel comfortable, what we do is also to give them more trust in you and trust in your process, we want to do 2 things. The first thing we want to do is we want to set an agenda. Okay. And so here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do that. Does that sound okay with you? And the second thing you're going to lay out the agenda. The second thing you get with that, it gives people certainty. They can relax a bit because they feel like they're privy to what's going to happen in the meeting. So normally people think, oh, a financial planner is going to be doing sneaky tactics, or he's got things up his sleeve, or he's going to do something a bit sneaky at some point in the meeting. But what we've done by setting out the agenda, we've basically opened up exactly what you're going to do. So they feel privy to the information that they're going to get. They feel like you've let them inside right at the start. So, and if he's let me inside, or she's let me inside, they can't take me off track. That wouldn't be kosher. That wouldn't be right. So they feel like you've opened up to them because you've let them in. They can relax. They can actually feel like they're in control just by knowing where they're heading. And they get the perception of control and certainty. Notice those key words keep coming up again. Control, certainty, relax, that sort of thing. Comfort. People need all those words before they're going to make a positive decision with you. The second thing the agenda does is that it sets some targets and some milestones along the way as well. So they know exactly that they're heading in the right direction and that they're making progress over the course of the meeting. Okay, so when you're on a road trip and you're looking out for you're looking for certain milestones, and I know I'm like this, things that you're familiar with, things that you feel comfortable with, things that'll make you feel like you're on the right road and you're going the right way. I know there's a certain truck stop that I pass, or I know there's a certain sign, or there's a certain turn off to another place, but I know when I'm there, okay, I'm not too far from where I'm going. I'm just looking out for things that are milestones that I'm looking out for on the trip. It makes me feel right. Okay, I'm cool. I'm on the right track, and that's what they need as well. And that's what an agenda with milestones does. It's like, I know where you're taking me, I know where we're going, your process sounds logical, it's not too hard, you seem like you know what you're doing, because actually I had no idea what was going to happen today, so I'm glad you've taken control. Thank you for that. Thank you, that's great. I can lower my guard a bit, I can relax, this isn't scary, it's not as scary as I thought it would be, that's for sure. And in fact, I can see that I can get a lot out of this because the process that you're mapping out for me sounds really good. Okay, that's the sort of thing that's going to go on in their head. They won't say that. They won't say this out loud, guys, but this is the sort of thing that's going to go on in their head if we map out an agenda and have milestones for them to get to. Okay, so that's number one. So that was the two things with the agenda. The second thing we need to do here to make it to make them feel really, really comfortable is that we want to give them back control. Okay, we want to give them back control. Yeah, we want to give them back control. And yeah, sorry guys, just a distraction here. We want to give them back control. So then, so they feel like they're in control, and we're going to say, and we want to give them back control so that they can say, hey, I don't want control. I want you to give it. I want to give it back to you. By that I mean, we're going to say at the end of that pre-frame section, we're going to say something like, so that's how I see the session working. Is there anything else you'd like to cover off on today? Okay. And we're going to say, okay, so this is what we want. I've just framed up. Here's the agenda. Here's all the things that we want to do today. This is how I see the plan working out. Is there anything else that I haven't covered today that you'd like to cover off? This session is about you. It's not about me. It's about you. Does that sound like a plan, or is there something else that you'd like to talk about in particular? And by giving them back control, they think, great, I'm in control here, but actually they don't know where to go. So they're happy to follow along with you. Or the other thing they'll say is they'll say like, I'd actually love to talk about X, Y, Z, or I've got this thing that I want to address, and and you can reassure them that you'll cover that. So does that sound like a plan, or is there anything else you'd like to cover off on? Yeah, well, I actually want to make sure we talk about blah blah blah. Great, okay, I'll just jot that down. We'll add that to the list. So now they feel like you've given them control by asking them, is there anything else they want to cover? And they'll feel really, really good about that. They'll feel in control. They'll never feel the need to take control because they feel like they're in control and they're comfortable and they're happy to follow the expert's plan. And the expert's also going to make sure that he covers off that specific thing that I had in my mind here as well. And again, guys, I just want to walk you quickly through the agenda. So, and that's really what the agenda, guys, just tell me, guys, have you seen this agenda template? I'm going to clear the raise your hand button. Who's seen the agenda? I think a lot of you guys are using an agenda or some sort of agenda like this, something like this. So that's really what we use. So it's basically and so how I frame it up, and I'll just give you an example of how I frame it up. So guys, we've got a short space of time, guys. So I want to be really, really clear about this. There's two ways this meeting can go. We can have a really good chat, have a discussion with each other, have a bit of a conversation, go round and round in circles, and have a really great time. And we'll have a great chat, but we won't really get too far. Alternatively, what I like to do is I like to run to an agenda to make sure that we stay on track, we stick within the time limits, and we make sure that we cover off everything and make it a really useful session for us. Does that sound okay? And as I'm saying that second part of it, I shove the agenda in front of them. And I'll just basically walk them through the way I do it. Now, guys, that's my style of doing it. You might have your own way, but we've got to somehow have a transition of how we open up with the agenda. Okay, and then we just sort of launch into it. So today's what we call a meet and greet. There's no answers today. No solutions today. It's just a really good chance for you to get to know us, our business, what we do, how we operate, the type of work that we do, and for you to see if we might be a good fit for you. But it's also a really good chance for me to get to know you, your situation, your background, your history, to find out a little bit about you, find out if we can work together, if you're the type of client that fits our model, and find out if or how we can help. Okay, so what have I done right at the start? Right, even before I've gone into the bullet points, I've said there's no answers today, it's no solutions. You're not coming into this meeting to plug in a USB into the side of my neck. No, that's not what's going to happen. It's about you getting to know us getting to know you, and at the end, I'm going to decide whether you come on. And then, so guys, so today's what we call a meet and greet, blah, 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 like I said. So we'll sit down, relax, have a coffee, tea, take a few steps back, tell us about yourself, your family, your situation, your dreams, goals, whatever you want to put in there, guys, by the way. And I always used to put in at the end here, at some point today, I'm going to ask you what utopia looks like for you. Because at some point during the meet and greet meeting, I want them to paint a picture of what a world of amazingness, a world of awesomeness would be. So then I can write down what they say and just give them that. Okay? Because if they tell me what they want in utopia and I give them what they want in utopia, well, you know, we pretty much can't go wrong, can we? Okay, so I'd normally say that there. Then I'd say, okay, I've got a really interesting exercise. If we had a magic wand and we can do anything you'd like us to do, can't wait to do that, get really excited by that. What that'll do is help us to identify any areas or issues we can address. I've got a line here if you're happy and you want me to keep going. So you see what I do there? I give them the feeling that they've got an escape. If they want to leave, they can leave. Okay, I let them know that. No one's ever left, not one person ever, but I want them to feel like they've got an escape clause. Okay, if you're happy, you want me to keep going, and I actually say the words. I've got a line here. If you're happy and you want me to keep going, I'll go through what we call our corporate profile: who we are, how we operate, what you can expect in our 5-step process. I'll explain and agree on the fees, costs, and the scope of work or services to be provided, and then I look them straight in the eye. And I used to say this, you don't have to say this, but this is how I used to do it. So guys, I'd love to work for free. I'd love to be a charity or a benevolent society, but the reality is we run a professional financial planning office. We're going to have a really great chat today. I'm going to know where you want to be, where you're at, and exactly what's involved. And at the end of our session, I reckon I'll have a pretty clear understanding of what is required, what work's involved, what sort of value I can add. I'll be able to tell you what the fees are by the end of our session today. Is that okay with you? Okay, so you see again, I've removed that white elephant out of the room. It's gone. And they don't have to think about that anymore. They know, they know I'm going to tell them what the fees at the end. Really importantly, but I might actually say to them, but really importantly, guys, here, if and only if I believe that I can add some value, because I've got to be able to help, and I think we can have a relationship together, I will invite you to become a client of Southern Financial Strategies. And I notice my tone slowed down. It got a bit deeper, and at this stage I'm looking them right in the eye. Okay, so they now know, dude, I'm choosing whether you join us or not you, the other way around. And that's when all of a sudden they sort of sit up in their chair and start to smile at me a bit nicer. Okay, got a line here. If you're happy, you want me to keep going, we'll agree and sign a service agreement and authority to proceed. We'll make a tentative booking for our next meeting, which is what we call a fact find. And I've blocked out about 2 hours today. We shouldn't take that long, John and Marie, but I've blocked out about 2 hours. You cool with that? How does that sound? Does that sound like a plan? And that's what they say. And they say, you know what they say? Every single time they say, well, yeah, Steve, that sounds like a great plan. And I'd also throw in there, is there anything else you wanted to cover that I haven't talked about here? Normally, they'll say, they just don't say anything. Okay? So what have we done? Okay, that makes sense, guys. Guys, just give me how does that sound to you guys? Also, it looks like you've done plenty of times before. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes, Steve, thank you. I saw your comment there. Also, it looks like you've done it plenty of times before. It's not the first. Exactly right. So, yeah, we're veterans. You're in safe hands with me. Exactly right. Guys, how does that, what do you get out of that? I might actually just ask you the question I had here. What are you learning so far, guys? I'm just going to bring that down and put the slide back up. I just want to know, what are you learning so far? What's been most useful for you so far and why? I'd love you to just, I'm going to grab a quick drink. You see, really we've talked about, positioning for, what do we call it? Positioning to prosper, sorry. The positioning yourself right up front before we've even met. Yeah, positioning the prospect. That's exactly right. Then we talked about you being in the driver's seat, and we've just mapped out, sort of setting up. We mapped out the meeting, and we mapped out the milestones. We're going to do this, and we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to walk you through this. And what that's going to do is help us to do blah blah blah. And then I've got a line here. If you're happy to, and you want to keep going, I'm going to walk through my corporate profile. It's going to tell you about who we are, how we operate, the service we can provide, and what you can expect from us. I'm going to tell you about the fees and the costs. I'm going to be really, really clear on that. At the end of this session, I'll know exactly what we need, how much work's involved, what time's going to be involved, and how much value I can add. I'll be able to clearly articulate exactly what I think the fees are going to be. And that's the beauty of the corporate profile, guys, because at the end of it, you've got your fee options. You can choose over that 90-minute meeting which option they can go into. You don't have to sit there and think it up or say, oh, you better go away and I'll do up a draft, I'll draw up a quote, or whatever you call it, I'll do a quote up for you and send it out to see if you like it. No, you don't need to do that because you've got your corporate profile at the end to position it with. Okay, so guys, just type in for me, what are you getting out of it? How crucial positioning is. Thank you, Lee. That's good. I really want that to be crucial. William says, great. Setting the framework and positioning the conversation. Thanks, Julie. Terry, getting the basics right up front. You notice, guys, this is really simple. I'm talking. We're only here in the first 2 boxes so far. We're only in the first 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the conversation. This is not long into it at all. But I'm now really taking you deeper into the psychology of this. Because really, it's just a conversation. It flows. It's really simple. Hey John, hey John and Anne-Marie, thanks for coming in. Really, really great. I hope the traffic wasn't too difficult for you today, or or hope you found it okay. Oh, gee, it's raining outside, or whatever that thing happens to be. So really great. So guys, so come on through, guys. There's 2 seats. That's my seat over there. There's 2 options here. This is the head of the table, and this is the hot seat. You can choose whichever one you seat. You want to sit in. Great. So guys, what brought you in here today? Talk to me. Tell me a little bit about what's brought you in to see me today. Okay, great. Blah, 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 blah. And they tell me that. Okay, great. Guys, just for us to make the most out of our most time out of our session today, I'd love to know if for this to be an amazing meeting, one of the best financial meetings that you've ever had. I want it to be a great meeting today. And to do that, what outcomes would you like over the course of our session today? And I'm just going to jot those up on the whiteboard here in the corner. Okay, you want this? Yeah, great. Okay, you want that? You want to know that? Great. Okay, you want to know this other thing? Awesome. Anything else? What else do you want to know? Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll get that too. What about if we did this? And what about if I was able to talk about, go really deep on what are the key 4 or 5 issues that you'd like to achieve financially? Would that be okay? What about if I got some understanding of what your tax position is? Would that be okay? What about if we were really, really clear on what your retirement looked like and had a bit of a plan and mapped that out? Should we jot that down as a thing too as well? Blah, blah, blah. And we actually help them build the list. Okay, great. All right, guys, cool. Got 2 ways we could run this meeting. The first way is that we can have a really good chat, have a nice conversation, go round and round in circles. We'll have a really good time and have a fun time, but we probably won't get too far. So the way I like to run a meeting like this is I like to use what we call an agenda, and we shove the agenda in front. Okay, so this is what we call a meet and greet meeting. There's no answers today. There's no solutions. Just a really good chance for you to get to know us, our business, the way we operate, what we do, get a feel for our firm, and determine in your mind whether you think we'd be a good fit for you. But alternatively, it's also a really good chance for us to get to know you, your situation, your background, your history, where you want to be, what your position is right now, and make sure that you're a really good fit, and make sure that we, if or how we can help, and you fit our firm. So then I'll just quickly run through, and then so we walk through. So I'm going to get you to sit down, relax, have a cup of tea, coffee, glass of water, and an initial introduction, which we've kind of already done. I'll get you to go back a few steps, determine if, tell me about who you are, your bit of history, your background, tell me about yourself, your family, your situation, your dreams, your goals. At some point today, I'd love to know what utopia looks like for you. But I've got this really, really great exercise. It's called If We Had a Magic Wand. And we can do anything you'd like us to do. So I really can't wait to get into that. But what that'll do is help us to identify any areas or issues we can address. If you're happy, I've got a line here. If you're happy, you want me to keep going, I'm going to run through what we call our corporate profile. Who we are, how we operate, service we provide, what you can expect in our 5-step process. I'll explain and agree on the fees, costs, and scope of work to be provided today. Guys, I'd love to work for free. I'd love to be a charity of benevolent society, but the reality is we're a professional financial planning firm, and we run a professional business here. So we're going to have a great conversation today, and over that time I'm going to know where you're at, where you want to be, where you're at, what's involved, how much value we can add, and I reckon by the time we finish that, I'll be really, really clear on what I think the fee structure will be, and I'll walk you through that at the end. Does that sound okay to you? And then, but really important here, guys, if and only if. And I'm just really, guys, all I'm doing, and I can memorize this, but really all I'm doing, I'm just reading off the initial appointment agenda. If and only if I believe I can add some value and we can have a relationship together, because that's really important, I'll invite you to become a client. If you've got a line here, if you're happy you want me to keep going, we'll sign a service agreement and authority to proceed and make a tentative booking for our next meeting, which is what we call a fact find. And I've got about 2 hours set aside. We probably won't take 2 hours, but I'll just block that time out just to make sure we've got enough time. Guys, does that sound like a plan for you? And is there anything else that that you want to cover that I haven't talked about so far? Okay, great. We'll jot that down and we'll make sure we cover that. Okay, guys. Talk to me. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And what I do, did you hear me rubbing my hands together? I just sort of clap my hands together, rub back, sit back in my chair, relax myself, and I just say, guys, so talk to me. Tell me a bit about yourself, your background, your history. I want to know a little bit about your family, you know, where you've come from, where you guys met. You know, a little bit about, you know, your history, your jobs and things like that. Tell me about your kids, travel, things like that. And so I give them a bit of a helping hand of things to tell me about. And I say at the end, I love hearing people's stories. And I literally, if you could see me now, I'm almost slouching. I'm not slouching, but I'm sitting back in my chair in a really relaxed position, ready to just sit there and listen to them tell me about themselves. Okay, I've done that. I spoke that a little bit fast, but really that's 3 minutes. That's all we've talked about so far. So it's really, we've done everything there in that first 3-minute session there, guys. So just thought it probably important to give you a bit of an upfront on there. Getting the basics right, first impressions really count and resonates throughout the meeting right through. Starting strong is vital. Thank you, William. Yeah, it's absolutely right. Thanks, Terry. Thanks everyone who did participate there as well. All right, so that's cool. I've got that. To move forward now. Okay, so that's the third part. So once we've positioned to prosper and we've jumped into the driver's seat and we've mapped out the meeting, the next thing you're going to do is that you're going to right hook the agenda. Okay, you're going to right hook it's actually right hook their agenda. Okay, we're going to right hook their agenda. Okay, have you ever noticed, guys, people come in or they get referred to you and they've got a completely different agenda to what you've got in mind. Okay, I think this is really important. So you take on the appointment because you want to help people and make their financial lives better. You want to help their family, and you want to get well paid for it as well. And you want people to feel like they place value on you and value on your advice, and you want people to sign up. You know, that's kind of your agenda. You want to help people, but you want to get paid, and you want people to see value. They come in thinking, right, I'm going to bleed this person for as much information as I can, or I'm going to get them to do a heap of work for me and, you know, help me find all my super funds, or get them to work out some quotes and stuff, and, you know, maybe I'm going to ask them a heap of questions, and maybe I'll be able to figure out my own best way I can set up my loan properly, or I'm going to try and find out some facts about Centrelink so that I can then go down to Centrelink and do it myself, right? Who's ever had people do that? Just raise your hand for me. Who's ever had, who can get that? You've got one set of thought processes and they've got a completely other. Who can get that? Who resonates? Who does that resonate with? You know, my plan is to stick a USB stick into the back of this person's neck and download as much information as I can for free. That's what my agenda is. And that's different to yours. So I want free information. So if that's what you want, and they're set on what they want, what you need to do, what we need to do straight away, right now, rather than wait till the end when it's too late. You know, we need to stop that in its tracks, because if you get them on that process, that's how it's going to end, right? Okay, so that's why so many financial planners commit to doing work for people and not getting paid, because they didn't do this one critical step in the process, and it costs them dearly. And it's not only costs them in money, it costs them in time. Because what we say is, if we don't set it up right, we say, okay, well, what I'll do, I'll go and research your funds, and I'll go and do this, and I'll go and do that, and I'll do some quotes and blah, 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 and I'll send you out a draft report, or I'll send you out this, or I'll do some work for you, and they haven't committed to anything. Okay, so we want to position it really early. Remember, we're only in the first 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 minutes here in the meeting, and we've hardly done anything so far. We've hardly been in this process at all. Really early in the piece. So I want you to overcome any thought process they've got that they're just there to find out information and ask questions and not go any further with you. And yeah, and that's what I want you to do. So we want to overcome their thought processes and make it really, really clear. And the thing that I want you to be concerned with here is the decision question. I'll get this back on the screen. I think it might be useful. It's the why me and why now, okay? So, okay, great. Just before we go, and I'll frame it up for you guys, how I used to say it. I say, okay, great, guys, so we've done the agenda. I say, okay, so great. Just before we go too much further, we've got some time put away. We've got some time put aside together today. But right up front, I want to ask you, sorry guys, I do this before I ask them about their background history, before I go to Relationship Mountain there. Okay, I'll skip this bit. So this is where at the end of the agenda, this is where the decision question comes in. So right up front, I'd love to ask you a question. Well, there's two questions really. And I ask everyone I work with these same two questions. So the first part is, out of all the financial what's made you come in today and want to work with me? So the first part of the question is why me? And the second part of the question is why now? You know, specifically, what's going on in your world right now that makes this the right time to have a conversation about your retirement or about your super or about your insurance or about your home loans or whatever it happens to be, whatever, insert relevant thing here, right? So you know, why is now the time you've finally decided to take charge and get this stuff sorted? So the question I've got for you is why me and why now? Okay? So what you want to do is get out, and then what you do then is you just shut up and don't speak and let them start telling you. And I'll say, for the first part, why you? Well, blah, 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 blah. I got referred to you, or I've seen your emails that you've been sending, or I downloaded your lead magnet, or my next door neighbour told me that. They'll tell you the reasons why they want you. And why now? Well, you know, I've been putting it off so long. My next door neighbour got sick. I've got a redundancy at work. Whatever it happens to be. Now, what's going to happen is they will start relating to you. They'll start bullet pointing all the reasons they want to work with you and why they want to work with you now. Okay, so they're telling you. So they're telling you why they want to work with you and why they want to work with you now. So if they, at the end of it, they just came in for a brain dump, that would be kind of rude. And people don't generally want to be rude either. Okay, so this is really important for them it's a really important part of this little process. Okay, so what we want to do is get out of their head exactly why it's not cool for you to just have to give them free information. You can tell you the reasons they want to work with you and you specifically, and why they want to do it now. You know, I've come in to fix XYZ problem, and they want that solved. Okay, and they're going to tell you what that problem is. They might want free information, but at the end of the day, if we do this process right, they're going to realise that just coming in for free information is not actually cool at all. They won't expect you to work for free when they know how good a process you've taken them on. Okay, so then the way we do that, we want transformation. It's not about information, it's about transformation. And the way we do that is we ask the why me and the why now question. Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough on that. All right. Guys, I think we're pretty cool. So what I want to do, we've got a couple of minutes left. I think we're pretty much on track. I've got any questions on that? I just want to ask, is there any questions on that? If you've got anything that you're not quite sure, I've got a couple of minutes left, and I think we're done now. I don't want to do too much on this, but if you've got anything that I've talked about today that you're not sure of, that you sort of want me to sort of overview with you just in the next couple of minutes, we're pretty much on track today, which is good. If you've got any questions? Got it, yeah, great. Yeah, I get that. This has been great, Steve. Awesome refresher. Thank you, guys. Okay, cool. This is good. This has been really helpful, Steve. I'm just looking for these items in the vault. Now, great. Your dialogue is in the vault. Yeah, it is. The dialogue is the dialogue in the vault. The dialogue in the vault. I don't know if the actual scripting is in the vault, Terry. There is some scripting, but I don't know if the actual dialogue is in the vault. But the recording will be in the vault. I know that. So, okay, mate, Webinar Wingman JD, can you just remind me that I probably should actually record my blurb one day? Yeah, why don't we do that? So, just remind me to do that. So, thanks, Terry. It's not in there now, but maybe it will be pretty soon. Where does the why mean why now fit into the establishment rapport? I tell me about yourself first. Why me? Why now first? Mate, I think it's just a psychology thing. Firstly, I want them to get ingrained that they're going to work with me first. And number two, the why now pieces, I could probably expand on a few of those pieces, number one. And number two, there's going to be a few more reasons for the why now piece. They're going to have a few more issues of things that they want to fix as opposed to wanting to work with me, especially when it's a lead magnet, guys. Some people won't. I'm not really so focused on the why me bit. It's the why now piece is the more important, because if someone's downloaded a lead magnet, the reality is they probably haven't got a big why me. So that's okay too. So if they haven't got much of a why me, it might be I downloaded your lead magnet or someone got referred. There might not be lots of reasons, but normally the why now is longer and bigger, and it's actually more important part of that two-phase question, because the now needs to be more important than the me, because if they walk through my authority process, they're going to get the why me over the course of it as well. Does that help, mate? Does that, Paul? Does that make sense? Yeah, great. Okay, cool. All right. Good. So yeah, so guys, just in that, the why now part is more important than the why me. Don't get too hooked up on the why me bit. The focus is actually the why now. Okay. All right. That's good so far. All right, guys, game plan. Let's just really focus on the game plan. What's the game plan for you? So we've been talking about the solid start, and I'm going to give you 3 pieces of homework. Okay, really simple. If you want to, I want you to think about the last 2 or 3 or 4 meet and greets or sales appointments or discovery consultations or whatever you call your first meeting, and I want you to basically ask yourself these 3 questions. So this is the game plan for you guys, and I want you to write them maybe just in your takeaways or your action steps here. So I want you to ask yourself, have I built rapport? Have I actually done a really good job of building rapport? And do I have a physical things that I say to build that rapport? And again, you can use that 9-box framework to do that. Number 2, have I set the agenda? Have I set the agenda well? And have I taken time with it? So again, we're talking about the first 5 to 10 minutes of your appointment max here. But have I set the agenda well? If I haven't got an agenda, firstly get one, guys. And if you go into the Vault, the agenda template has got an agenda for all of your meetings, your meet and greet, your fact find, your plan presentation, your implementation meeting, your ongoing review meeting. That's, I think, 6 different agendas in there that I used to use, so you can adapt those. So if you don't have one, firstly get one. But if you have one, spend the time on it. It's critical that you get this part right, because it'll help you at the end of your meeting. And the third one is, have I asked the decision question? Have I got them engaged in telling me why they want to work with me and why they want to do it now? So that's really your homework. Be super honest, guys. You know, I know you know what to do here. That first 5 or 10 minutes is really, really critical, so I want you to be really honest. Have I led the client? Have I got myself in the driver's seat? Or have I been a bit of a passenger? Am I letting people lead the client, and how can I do that differently and arrest control? All right, guys, let's, in the interest of almost perfectly finishing on time for a change, let's do this. I'm going to put the what did you learn slide in the Facebook group, because I'd love to know, what did you learn, what did you notice, what did you share, what did you get out of today's session? Have you had value, guys? So can you type me in, guys? Have you had value today? I hope you've enjoyed what we've done today. I think it's a really critical part, and I actually really love that part, because it just makes the conversion meeting so much easier at the end. So please, I hope you've got value out of it. All right, so that's cool. So we're in September, guys, and yeah, we're still in September, and September's still conversion month, and it's about sales next month. And the very, very best way I know to run a quality conversion conversation is to use that 9 framework that I keep going back to over and over again. We've done a little bit of it today, but the 9 boxes are the easy bit. The 9 actual boxes are the easy bit. Most of you have got at least some idea or some handle on how to do the main 9 sections of the conversion conversation. The next challenge is the transition from one box to the next. Okay, that's where I get this quite a bit. So how do you move along each section of the conversion conversation in a smooth way, in a classy way, seamless, so that it feels natural and the conversation just flows? And it's a big question I get all the time, and it's exactly what we're going to cover next time we get together, how to transition with class, okay? So in this section I'm going to show you how to move through each aspect of your meeting, ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, and do it with style, with grace, with class, and have your prospects eating out of the palm of your hand and wanting more from you. Okay, we're going to be able to move from one box to the next in a seamless way, so they won't even know that you're following anything. It's just a conversation with it. Okay, it's really, really good when you can do this right, guys, by the way, and it's awkward when you don't. Okay, that's where we're heading next time we get together. So, guys, just let me say, yes, I've got a yeses here. Yeah, great. Yes, I have time to set it up now. Great, Terry, awesome. Starting Monday, and it will be one of the 3. Awesome. Thanks, Steve. This was a good refresher how to run the meet and greet. It's actually not the meet and greet, it's just the first part of the meet and greet, but yeah, this is great. Been through it before, but yeah, you still pick up on good points, and that's why we do these refreshers. Our team is learning fast. It's great for them to hear it from someone else. Thanks for your insights. No worries, Julie. Paul said the word where. Can you just, where does the why me not fit in with establishing rapport? Oh, I'm sorry, mate, guys. So I'm going to hang up. But Paul, just clarify your question a bit for me, buddy. That's 9-box framework completed. Mate, okay, Paul, just do me a favour, just type in the question again for me. I'm happy to answer for you now. So, guys, we'll end the session now. I hope you've had a good time, and yeah, look forward to seeing you real soon. Paul, I'm happy to stay on the line for just a couple of seconds. And yeah, just to answer that question for you, no worries, but because I'm just a bit confused, so just take the time for me. The pre-completed version you showed during the Prezzo, okay, so you want to see that. So where does the why mean? In here, buddy. So we're in the lead. So what we covered today, Paul, is this session, this section here, the lead the client bit. We covered the building the rapport, setting the agenda, and then the decision question, why me, why now. Then I actually launched into, so guys, tell me about yourself. I actually started there. I shouldn't have done that little bit. I actually, at the end of the agenda, okay, great. Does that sound like a plan to you? Is there anything else you'd like to cover? Okay, great. No worries. We'll cover off on that. Okay, just before we go too far, I've got this question I ask everyone. It's actually 2 questions, and I ask every one of my clients this, and I'm going to ask you. Okay, so of all the financial plan, we just launch into it. So you see, I just did a little transition there. Okay, great. We'll run that for you there, and I just transitioned straight into this. Okay, I've got this question that I asked. Am I answering the question for you, mate? Where's that in the vault? The whole thing? Oh, dude, I think it's in the vault. It's just called the okay. So go into the webinar recordings, the training recordings. You know, these sessions. Go into. Let me just find it for you, bud. Let's have a look where it is exactly. It's in the vault. We're just mucking around with our tabs at the top here, guys, so please ignore this. Our guys are working behind the scenes with that. It's in the convert. Oh no, let's do that. It's in the convert section, but I know for a fact it's in training webinars. I'm not sure if it's in Get Hired Like a Pro or, and of course my internet decides to go slow. It's either Get Hired Like a Pro or the, mate, it's in one of these 2. It's in. I think it's in both. It's in Get Hired Like a Pro, or it's in the conversion audit. So if you scroll down here, the conversion audit #1, and how to get hired like a pro. So I know it's definitely in there. So so guys, just for all of you, for whoever's still on the call, if it's a convert item or a conversion, an item about conversion, it'll be in the convert tab. Right, so we're talking about conversion, so it'll be in the convert tab, but it's also, I know for a fact that it's in these 2 here. All right, so just jump in there, Paul. All right, guys, no worries. Take care, everyone. Thank you for that, and yeah, we'll talk to you real soon. Take care, and bye for now. Talk to you soon. Bye.